Hello everyone and welcome to week 4 of the Azure Dreams Rock Me to the Top Random Toolkit 2 State Display Edition Tournament. Today we have kind of the titans so far of this tournament facing off in the semi-final match. We have Wugga versus SepticTank, and these two are definitely very accomplished speedrunners and have done quite well in this tournament so far. I can all guarantee that we're going to have quite the matchup today. As I said, both of these guys are quite accomplished in the speedrun, whether it be with or without failures. So we will likely see some very interesting gameplay here. And there's a bit of a friendly rivalry between these guys too. So, you know, probably see a bit of that going too. I didn't actually catch what they named each other, but I'm sure there's going to be some friendly competition there as well. I will be joined shortly by my fellow organizer Chai. He's currently counting our runners down.
Here.
Oh, here. Okay. Hello, Chai. How are you doing?
Hello, Revan. How are you?
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. So, bit of a quick rundown here. We're going to have randomized starting familiars, a randomized egg, a random weapon, whether it be a sword or a wand, some kind of a shield, some kind of a spell ball, and a guaranteed medicinal herb. And one of the things that we like to do before runners get off and going is have a bit of a back and forth with chat about what everyone thinks the starting monsters are going to be. And
Lots of dreamings here.
yeah, it looks like we already have Dreamin' and Noise Hype in chat, actually. Dreamin' Picket. Oh, man, you guys really... Killer? Yeah. You guys really want to make him
Killer.
earn it. Yeah, I second Noise for sure. I've been wanting to see a Noise for a while in this tournament, and I think we may have seen one in an egg, but it obviously wasn't used. And seeing runners of this caliber using an underutilized monster, I think, will be pretty interesting. So here's hoping for Noise.
Ule doesn't want to see Garuda, but with Wugga, I don't think that's possible.
We shall find out soon what we're going to see. Free, okay, yeah. And Septic already throwing a little bit of shade towards Wugga. And a dragon. Oh, okay. Maybe Septic's onto something here. Maybe he just had a little bit of insight into what was going to be.
As long as it's not Wind Dragon, even Wind Dragon would be amazing. But anything else, and it's just a simple seed. As long as there is Water Dragon, that's perfect. Yeah.
Yep. This should be a relatively easy seed. I'm not gonna say it's free or anything, because the tower can be the tower. Gulfwind Sword, not terrible. It's
amazing,
strong.
actually. Think about it. With Gulfwind Sword, you can pretty much get rid of all the wind and water monsters, right? So
and a kid in the egg. Oh no! What is this seed? We also get a live shield with pretty good shield. Noah Sled Ball, also a very good ball. That is a wind element attacking spell ball. And we get the standard PETA and medicinal through. We're actually off to a fantastic start with this seed already. I am really looking forward to seeing what these guys end up doing.
I like that Wugga switched to AI too, because he knows that this is pretty good. Oh no, he actually went back to AI 3.
Yeah, he did.
And
I do like that though. What you were getting at there is saving a bit of time on watching that animation. The MP is not so much of an issue because the dragon can eat metal. But starting with that Gulfwind Sword, that 5 attack power, and Septic actually found a red sand pretty much immediately, making it 6 attack power. That is more than enough to carry you through the first couple floors, even with it being wind element. So yeah, I definitely like not having to look at the Blizzard Sword animation as often.
I think that with this monster, our runners probably don't really need much inventory at all, so normal exploration of early floors, I would say, is not that important. So I was actually a little bit surprised that Wugga, even though he did find an elevator, he opted to still check the floor. Maybe it's because he was level 1, he didn't want to like go to next floor at level 1. But yeah, I don't think that our runners will be really exploring that much. At least that's my prediction. I don't know.
The dragon definitely reduces the need for it. As long as they can get a few levels here and there, that dragon will be more than enough to realistically deal with most things that they're going to encounter for a very long time. The dragon, being an evolved monster, has incredible stat gains. So every level up, he's just going to get exponentially more powerful. And having the Gulfwind Sword +1 on at least. Yep, there we go. +1 on both sides now. That's going to be a nice boon for them as well.
Yeah, a quick explanation for Softenheim. If you never played this game, Azure Dreams, it's a roguelite RPG. What we are doing here is just one of the elements of the game, the main one called the tower. The tower has 40 floors to climb. And we just have to beat it as fast as possible. Whoever reaches floor 40 first wins the game. Should they not be able to reach floor 40 and die before that, the winner is the one who reaches the higher floor. Should they die on the same floor, the winner of the given game is the one who reached that floor first. And we've got best of 3 here. So we will have at least 2 matches. Knowing these runners, even one of them should win 2-0 very quickly, we'll probably have a friendly third. So I'm quite sure we'll see around 3 hours of Azure Dreams. You will have plenty of time to see what this game is about, or at least, like I said, one part of it, because this game has so much more to offer. It's very unique, very fun game to play. Definitely something that I and many people in our community would recommend.
But not only that, Chai. Not only do we have the rogue-like aspect of the game with, all of its glorious features and all of these, but this tournament specifically is actually based around that neat little window on top of the game screen there. And for the new viewers, Chai, would you like to give them a bit of a rundown about what that's all about?
Yeah, so basically it's a tracker. Like in many games, we've got tracker to see what is going on with randomizer. But in this case, it's not so much of a randomizer thing per se. It's more like a quality of life thing for the viewers and commentators. Thanks to this tracker, we can see all the time what are the stats of the main character, Ko, his familiar, and inventory. We can also see what floor they're on, which is very important because, like I said, the goal of the game is to beat the tower, floor 40. But if they are not able to do it, we will have to match their floors, and we have to somehow remember who was where to declare the winner. But with this neat little tool, we'll be able to see it all the time. We'll be able to see who is in the lead. So, yeah, that's a small, neat little thing that our community has.
And that is free for anybody to use. If you feel like joining our Discord, you can actually use this for your own streams or, just your own casual playthroughs. There's a lot more things that you can actually add to this window. We're a bit limited with what we can add because of the space that we have. But there's a lot of different functionalities you can add, map and all, weapon attack and all kinds of stuff. It's definitely a neat little tool that we've had around for a little while, and it hasn't really gotten a lot of love, so here we are. Meanwhile, though, we have Septic reaching floor 6 first, taking a small lead, which this early in the tower really doesn't mean a whole lot. We're probably going to actually see quite a bit of back and forth between these runners. As I think it's been touched on before, but we're playing seated towers here, so the layout of the tower, the items that they find are generally going to be the same. Now, there are a bit of caveats to that because we do have go down traps, which can change things up a little bit. But in general, they're going to have the same items and all of that as well. So it's sometimes going to come down to who goes left, who goes right. Who conserves an item for a crucial moment type of thing. So we'll probably see a bit of lead swapping back and forth here. That's not particularly great for Septic, being blind.
But he knows the situation, he remembers where the monsters are, so he can get rid of first the Bloom, then the Manoiva, and he does have a Roem Herb in his inventory. We can see that thanks to the state display, so he'll be able to cure that. Normally it would be a little bit tough situation, but as long as you know what's next to you, it's not so bad. Like I said, this game is very unique in that sense that blind status, not like in many RPGs, it doesn't cause that like you've got a lower chance to hit. It just literally blinds you. You see nothing. So yeah, but as long as you remember what was there before you got blinded, you're more or less okay.
Yeah, and that is kind of a unique thing about Azure Dreams, is that there are a variety of traps. Some of them can, paralyze you, put you to sleep, or, just deal damage to you. But there are other traps that actually affect the player rather than Ko himself. And blind is one of those. There's like reversal traps that turn the screen upside down. It's kind of a unique thing that I haven't really seen in other games, and I really enjoy that about this game.
We can see actually amazing pace on both of our runners' side. Septic is a little bit faster. He is currently around a minute a floor. And this early on, having already this kind of pace is actually quite unusual, I would say. That is like any percent style speed. Normally, our runners usually take a little bit longer time for the first 10 floors because, we need to build up an inventory. Difficulty of the tower grows exponentially the higher you go, so you need to be ready for it. Normally, we are not able to fight anything or most of the things very easily. So we have to resort to items that let us omit the fights. And they already did find some of the items for it. But yeah, with the dragon, it's such an amazing monster that you don't really need any of that because dragon can power through everything. Now Septic is in a little bit pickle. It's not like that he really can die from it. It's more like that it will take quite much time to handle it, more definitely than he would want to. Because, yeah.
Ooh, that miss,
the Bloom's dead. And now just, okay.
Go for the plushy luck. Okay.
But I guess that's actually like pretty good strategy with Dragon set to AI1. You don't really risk anything because that U-boat probably would be dead anyways in 2 max 3 hits. So why not try your luck and just pick up while you're doing that. So yeah. And there you go. Floor 10 at 10 minutes 30 seconds.
Yeah, and it is worth noting that the game is not intended to be played this way at all. Obviously with the randomization, you're obviously not supposed to start the game with a dragon or anything. But besides that, you're really not supposed to be able to climb the tower in one go. The game generally is going to expect you to get to roughly floor 6 or so. And that's when the first difficulty spike kind of kicks in, and they either expect you to leave or die. And there are several points where that is the case. We're actually going to see another one coming up here soon in roughly the floor 11, 12 area where we start finding griffins and krakens. Some enemies that really aren't very nice, and there's a lot of those kind of difficulty spikes where the game really expects you to go back to town, reclimb the tower, build up your items with the red and blue sands, and increase your monster's level, because whenever you leave the tower, Ko's level is always reset back to 1, but your monsters retain whatever level they had when they left. So that's really how the game is expecting you to go about it. So being able to not only get this high in the tower, but get this high in the tower this quickly is a feat in itself. And simply being able to clear the tower at all in a single go is also quite an incredible accomplishment.
Yeah, definitely. And these floors are, like Revan mentioned already, floors 6 to 9. are quite tough because you've got quite many scary water monsters, but floor 10, or actually starting from floor 11, is where there is another level of difficulty, because we've got very powerful fire monsters, especially griffins that can snipe you from afar, with the strongest game available to monsters in the game. But again, dragon is so powerful that neither of the runners really will have any trouble in these floors, especially when the dragon is water, because this game has an elemental triangle. We've got fire beating wind, wind beating water, and water beating fire. So like I mentioned, these are mainly fire floors that water dragon will plow through everything fire with ease.
Chai, I just saw Wugga do something kind of strange here that maybe you can shed some light on.
I didn't see what Wugga did. Can you tell me what he did?
He took his live shield that had the +5 defense on it, and he put on a leather shield that only has 1 instead. Why would he do that?
Because leather is better. It looks better on you. No, there are actually let's say 2 reasons for it, sort of. Reason number 1 is that defense starts becoming meaningless very, very, very quickly. But before I go further, I would like to welcome raiders from SpeedGaming 3. We've got quite many of you. You are at amazing time here because we are just starting match number 1 of Clash of the Titans of Azure Dreams community, Wugga versus SepticTank. It's a mini final of the winners bracket. They are the only ones left there, so whoever loses here will be it will be their first loss, but it will not be the end of the tournament because we've got double elimination tournament. So yeah, like I said, a mini finals. Welcome. I hope you will enjoy your time here. Going back to explanation for the shield, like I mentioned, defense goes away or stops being meaningful very, very quickly. The whole idea is that 2 points of defense decrease damage by 1. So that's not a lot, especially when we are dealing with numbers like Revan mentioned. Life Shield had defense of 5, so that's like 2.5 HP decrease. When monsters hit for 20, that doesn't really matter much. But there is a second reason, sort of hidden. Actually hidden, the game doesn't tell you about it. We know about it thanks to one of the community members, amazing programmer, who actually dig into the code of the game and is also the author of this de-randomizing randomizer. So many of the things are thanks to him. So thanks to him, we also know that Leather Shield has an hidden trait of giving you increased dodge chance. And because like I mentioned, the damage reduction is so insignificant, having increased dodge chance is by far much better thing that you want to have, especially for higher floors in the tower.
Or sure, being able to just completely negate 60 damage is much better than negating 2 or 3 all the time.
True.
Ooh, Septic's Dragon taking a little bit of a beating here.
Yeah, that is one situation where Water Dragon will be not so good because, again, water is weak against wind, and the Garuda here is wind. Oh, Septic is playing with his luck here. Luckily for him, it did turn out okay. Mahel Seed, okay. Another.
I'd like to see him go for the push.
Now it's gonna be very tough. Medicinal first and then pick up and walk away.
Yeah, I go for the pickup now for sure.
He could have died here very, very quickly. This is a situation that I was talking about, or actually in our pre-match discussions, because we were thinking that like our runners are so good that most probably we'll see only tower completion all the time. But the thing is that our runners are so good also that they put safety, let's say, at a second place in terms of the gameplay. They value speed much more than safety. And again, this monster is so amazing that if they played a little bit slower and safer, there is really nothing that could kill them apart from unlucky trap. But again, these runners will not put safety in first spot. They will definitely go for the speed. And when you go for the speed, like in septic situations, you could put yourself in a dangerous situation like he did, and sometimes you have to just use your luck rather than skills, and that was one of those situations.
And we're already seeing a bit of a divergence in their inventories. Wugga actually has 2 Olim fruits, he has an acid rain ball, and a holy bell that Septic doesn't have, and Septic's still 2 floors ahead, so that little bit of searching for the elevator and not quite finding it right away, while it makes him a little bit slower now, could end up letting him get to that higher floor that Septic might not be able to.
There is one more thing that Wugga has in his inventory, actually 2 things. 2 star glasses. For those that don't know, star glasses basically show the whole floor to you, so you don't have to explore, you know where everything is. And thanks to that, on some tougher floors, Wugga may decide, okay, I don't want to explore this floor, I don't want to search for the elevator, I'm just going to use star glasses and go there directly. And there you go. Wugga uses one very neat thing about the dragon that we didn't mention yet. As powerful as it is, any monster requires MP to operate. And with dragon, MP restoration is pretty simple because dragons eat metal. For every metal item, dragons restore 100 MP, so pretty much the full MP. And there is plenty of metal on every single floor. Apart from the equipment like swords, shields, there are also coins, they're metal, so MP restoration is not a problem at all with a dragon.
Yeah, and that's just another thing that makes them as good as they are. I mean, they're already one of the best monsters, just stat-wise. They have a really good spell as well, and mixture magic combination. The way you would normally get a dragon is through the evolution of a kid, which we saw in the egg, the starting egg, which would make it also liftable. It just kind of has everything that you would really want. The dragon also actually has a hidden trait that makes it immune to being stolen by Garudas. So yeah.
And we can see that both of our runners are actually on the same floor. Septic was
Yeah,
here a little bit faster,
Septic.
so he already found an elevator, while Wugga is still searching for it. But again, Wugga still has 1 pair of star glasses, which will make it so that it's very easy for him to beat 1 more floor. Now he uses a Dio Rock. I'm not sure that I would agree with this strategy, because that troll was not any danger to Wugga at all. I can understand that he didn't want to fight, but letting that troll hit on a rock, or tornado in this case, that probably would have wasted more time than just letting Dragon take care of the troll. So
probably, yeah, with the zooming into the screen and making it slow down your run. This seed has a lot of spell balls, and they're mostly pretty good too. We haven't seen any weak or poison balls, or anything like that. They've all been pretty good. It's not exactly a common thing to find a spell ball on every floor of the tower.
And another Dio Rock. There is one thing that Wugga is doing. He's using AI1, AI3 strategy. That I think it would be faster if he just went with AI1. 2 hits from a dragon. Not many things can survive 2 hits from a dragon. And AI1 works this way, that pretty much the dragon always takes the first hit, and then you can force a dragon to be the first one to hit in that second hit. So pretty much you've got free kill for a dragon. But Wugga decides to first hit AI1 and then use AI3, which is mixture magic. It still kills, it's just a tiny wee bit slower, so...
Oh no, Chai, we have a malicious scroll. You think they're gonna use it?
Are you trying to talk about yesterday's match?
Oh, not just yesterday, just all throughout this tournament. We've seen a ton of confusion strats because of the off-element blinder ball actually causes confusion as well. And there is a specific familiar that can also do it. So we've seen a lot of confusion, and the more confusion you see, the more often you're going to see it fail. It's doesn't make it any less reliable. It's still a 1 in 8 chance to, get hit. But it's shown that it's not maybe quite as reliable as it once was thought to be. At least in my opinion. I used to feel pretty safe using a malicious scroll. Maybe not so much anymore.
You know how it is with RNG, right? This 1 in 8 is actually 50-50. You either get hit or not get hit. And for Sand Knight yesterday and for many other runners, sometimes it happens that it's get hit even twice in a row. So what can you do? But yeah, I don't think that our runners will use that malicious scroll anytime soon because they will probably not need to. Again, they can get themselves into a corner situation like Septic did this one time, and it might be one of the solutions, albeit a little bit risky one. But if you don't have any other solution, well, what can you do, right? So
yeah, and just like that, Wugga has actually managed to take a bit of a lead here. He hit floor 19 first, and has already searched a few rooms by the time Septic actually got it. Oh, and he actually has found the elevator. So yeah. Ooh, that's a hard hit. He's gonna feel that one.
That's not how you do it, Wugga. Again, this is the thing that we discussed. These runners are extremely fast. Safety is not so important. So in this case, what Wugga could have done is simply like stand next to his dragon, let the dragon hit that Arachne while trying to pick up. But of course, that's additional step, additional setup. You have to be precise with that. You don't want to waste time on that. You just pick up and toss away. But sometimes, actually, 3 out of 8 times pickup will not work, and then you get hit. And spiders are especially bad to be hit by because they're extremely powerful. And we could see there that it was also a critical hit. More than half of Wugga's health, just like that, vanished.
And in chat here.
Oh, that is proper way to get paralyzed.
Yeah, that would have. That definitely would have been a Septic special if he hadn't lifted that spider like he did. Yeah, that it is kind of a bit of an ongoing meme in our community.
Another paralyzed trap, this time on a monster. That is very prospect.
Septic in particular has very bad luck when it comes to finding and getting hit and killed by paralysis traps specifically, and it was actually Wugga that coined the term the Septic special after one of his untimely demises from a paralyzed trap. So it's just kind of a thing that's been an ongoing thing in the community for a few months now.
Wugga is getting now a little bit of a larger lead. It's already 3 floors. Septic had a little bit unlucky floor 19. He had to search for an elevator quite a long time. Now he got a true slow trap called Poison Trap. We call it slow because you have to see the animation of you getting poisoned every single turn, and that slows you down. You cannot do this typical turbo running that you do. But Septic finds an elevator. There will be floor 21 still guarded by the spider, but Septic, like Wugga, goes for a pickup without worrying about letting Dragon take the hit. And slowly but surely he gets to floor 21, while Wugga hits already floor 25.
5, yeah.
This was the scariest floor for water monsters, right?
Oh yeah, literally every monster on this floor is wind element, and while they may not hit terribly hard as compared to water or fire monsters, having a water familiar here that's not particularly high level is going to end very badly.
And there is another element here that is very scary. That monster that Wugga just tossed away, it's called Stealth. and it has a special ability to become invisible. Oh, there you go. Yeah, 1 in 8
And
works.
okay, yeah, it worked this time.
Yeah. So that monster can get himself invisible, and when you don't know that there is a monster around you, of course, it's much harder to walk around it. And what's more, they can even spawn already being invisible, and that's a very scary thing. Luckily for Wugga, he used something called Monster Loop. Monster Loop reveals the location of all the monsters on the floor, and additionally, there is this small hidden little thingy that stealths will become visible and they cannot become invisible anymore.
Yeah, and actually, Septic also has one that he's holding on to, probably for the same reason. There we go. I was just about to say I'd really like to see him speed up his dragon there, sitting on very low MP.
Wugga is playing with a gacha machine. That is weird at this floor.
It is.
But
yeah, there's still some pretty good items that you can get out of this, though.
Truth glasses is okay, nothing really amazing. And so that gacha machine, it didn't lose that much time for Wugga, but also didn't really produce anything amazing. Luckily for him.
But it also does give you the ability to lift an immobile monster that you can use to as a boomerang or to block off hallways. So it had kind of a multi-purpose there aspect, I think, for Wugga. I don't think he was necessarily farming for any specific item. Maybe, some star glasses or exit loops or something. But I definitely think he was going for being able to carry that Baronga around with him, and be able to use that as another tool if he should need to. Fortunately, he pretty much found the elevator immediately using star glasses, so it wasn't too much of a big deal.
Oh, 2 balls. Wugga should pick up that second ball too, right?
He really should.
Because that can be something amazing.
And actually, finding that flame ball is actually very, very nice, because now, generally speaking, you kind of want to keep your monster as water for the higher floors anyway, because a lot of these scary monsters are going to be fire element, so you can actually have a better chance of fighting back against them. And he already had the Noah Rise, and I think it was Noah Breath?
Noah Sled.
Noah Sled. And so he had the wind element also covered, and now he has a flame ball. So he has all 3 elements covered, which isn't usually a common thing to find in these kind of tournament seeds, being able to actively cover. Oh no!
Uh-oh. Don't do it, Wugga. You've got familiar bell.
Yeah. That was... I'm not sure what happened there. Was this dragon confused or something?
No, I think it just got into some weird elevation or something. But in that situation there, I think Wugga made a small mistake, because we could see that there were actually 2 transformed Manoivas in that room. And when he wanted to get rid of that second one, he actually changed its element. He tossed, was it...
Light Seed.
Light Seed, yeah, changed Manoiva element to fire, and suddenly those wind balls, instead of decimating that Manoiva in a single hit, actually made it so that Wugga had to use 3 spell ball charges to get rid of it, and that's a big loss.
It is, and I think it's a kind of a big misplay there, because he has a water dragon that MP isn't a issue. He could have lined his dragon up with the Maniva and used direct breath.
Yeah, especially when he changed that Manoiva to fire.
Oh no, this could be really bad. He does not have he did have a second familiar bow earlier, and he opted to get rid of it to make space, and now he might pay the price for it.
And we can see actually on Septic sides that he does keep both of the familiar bells. What do you do, Wugga, now? Okay, Olim. Yeah, I think Wugga can get to his dragon now.
Septic moving up to floor 25 now. Does not...
okay, that is a big loss for Wugga. Now those 3 spellboard charges will be more important than ever. So let's hope that this will not be something that makes him pay the price. So Wugga loses the familiar. He's got 4 floors lead, and of course, losing such a good familiar is bad. But going without the familiar usually is faster, as long as you don't encounter too many problematic situations. Because again, if you cannot fight, the only thing that you can do is run and find an elevator. So let's see how it goes.
Wugga has a fairly decent inventory. Now, I'm not entirely sure how many charges he has left on each of these balls. But he does have 2 eggs that he can somewhat rely on for getting out of, a situation. He has that sleep ball. He has some deal rocks. He has some options to definitely get out of some situations here. That exit loop is definitely going to help as well. It's definitely not over for Wugga just because he lost his dragon. He definitely has things to carry him over. It's going to be a difficult climb, though, for sure.
But yeah, just like that, Wugga reaches floor 30. He's on the last straight.
Oh, and
one
the elevator
more
on the spin there.
He saw the elevator on the spin. He can go there, but...
okay. Very nice. That killer decided to turn around. That was almost kind of a really bad situation there.
And
luckily he missed. Yeah, it's very lucky Wugga didn't hit that blind trap. That
Get rid of the
really
Shomuro seat, yeah, and make space for Mahel seat. You do want to have that Mahel seat, of course. Oh, that's a bad situation. But Wugga goes for it anyways. He didn't decide to go around it because, again, you see elevator, you usually want to get to the elevator. There is no guarantee that if you go around, the situation will be better. It might be even worse. So if you can deal with given situation, just deal with it. Yeah, put killer to sleep and go to the elevator. Luckily for Wugga, that killer didn't wake up too quickly. He was able to get to the elevator, and now we are on floor 31, and we've got our first plot
floor. So we're seeing a mysterious ghostly figure named Beldo here, and this is pretty much the only plot you're gonna get. That is very fortunate Wugga didn't find that trap. But essentially, he says that he's the last man that saw your father, and to come find him on the 40th floor, and that's really about it. The plot that you get before all of this is that your father was the greatest monster tamer ever, even though he doesn't know how to evolve his unicorn.
So much hate.
And one day he went into the tower and he never came back. There was also a bit of an event at the top of the tower and nobody really knew what happened. Now that you get up to this high in the tower, this mysterious guy is telling you that he apparently knows what happened to your father and he wants to meet you on the top of the tower. So
we can see on Septic's side that he was actually playing with that Barong for a while. Our runners are not able to see each other's screens, so they're not aware of where they are. Septic doesn't know that he's currently 6th floor behind, and he doesn't really have time to play around with anything. He's thinking how to solve this situation. But yeah, it's taking so much time while Wugga is still going further and further, and he finds an elevator, floor 33. Quickly to answer Shoni's question, what happens in a game if you go to floor 31 twice in a fixed tower? It's the same situation as in case of vanilla game. Basically, there is a flag in a game that when you first get to floor 31, if this flag is not set, it plays the Beldo cutscene. After that cutscene is played, the flag is set. If you enter floor 31 again, the cutscene will not be played anymore. So we wouldn't see Beldo cutscene twice should they find a go down trap on floor 32.
I actually wasn't entirely sure about that. I kind of assumed that you wouldn't get the scene again, but who knows? That could have been a feature.
And Wugga has 6 more floors, but now that's a very bad situation because it's a 1-tile corridor. He has to kill the dragon somehow. Use the egg.
Luckily
it's a Viper. That's a good one. Those are not...
throwing the unidentified egg is definitely a gamble because, I mean, obviously you don't know what's inside, so that could have been a picket, for
Oh,
example.
another one where you have to deal with a dragon. Dragons are not easy to deal with, and we have to remember that they are now water. That's the thing about the randomizer. If it changes element of a starting familiar, and that familiar is a monster that already exists in the tower, natural element of that monster will be changed. Dragons normally are fire, like probably in every single game. But yeah, in this game right now, they're water.
Yeah, and Wugga has Noah Rise Ball, so I don't know how many charges he may have left in it, but he could potentially take out some dragons with that.
Does he remember that they're water? That's a
Yeah, that
question.
is a good question because I I forgot that the wild dragons were water, so it is
Uh-huh.
entirely possible that he doesn't realize that he has other options of dealing with them, which makes the fact that he got that kill on the first dragon with the Viper um that much better because it could have very easily been something fire element and not been able to kill it.
Oh, Septic hits also a warp trap. He has used one of the familiar bear or tossed it away, but he does have a familiar bear. He can get the monster back. So what is the play here? Septic decided to actually first take a step. Oh, and a go down trap on Wugga's side. So one of the trolley things, quote unquote trolley, in this tournament that we did was replace normally very positive traps go up that take you to the next floor. We exchange them with go down traps that normally don't exist in the game. And as the name would suggest, go down trap basically takes you to the previous floor. And that's what Wugga has to deal with right now. So floor 34 again.
Yeah, and it's definitely something a trap that you can actually get some pretty nice use out of if you find them early. Um, Being able to kind of farm up some items early on and then being able to kind of skip through some of the early floors. Definitely not something you ever want to see on the higher floors like this, though.
Oh yeah.
And in the unfortunate circumstance that you do hit a go down trap and die on that lower floor, the highest floor that you reached is actually what we are counting your score by. So if Wugga would have actually went down on floor 34 due to that trap, his score would still be floor 35. Septic would have to get to floor 36 to win. And a cure-all alert, very nice.
And quickly to answer Softnum's question, I know that chat already has done an amazing job. Thank you, Food and Sand. But let's touch on it as well. So this is also, let's call it a breeder game, where you find eggs of monsters. And there are two ways in which they can become your familiar. They can become your familiar temporarily. By that I mean in this tower climb. If you hatch that egg while you're in the tower, it will help you as long as you're in the tower. The moment you leave the tower, that familiar will be gone. The proper way to get the familiar is to find an egg, get out of the tower, and hatch it inside your house. And then you can take that familiar to the tower as many times as you want, and it will retain its level every single time you visit the tower.
And like Sandlight said, there's actually quite a few pets, over 40. Okay, I wasn't sure on the exact number, but there are a good bit of monster buddies that you can kind of recruit and level up, and some of them have spells naturally, others have spells that you can unlock through fusion, which we haven't seen yet, but both of the runners are capable of doing so. Some monsters have specific traits, like the spider guys that we mentioned earlier actually have double attack power, and you can pass traits kind of through fusion. Hopefully we'll see that in one of the next seed or two coming up here. But yeah, they're very, very useful, and they're actually pretty varied as well. As far as looks and uses go, anyway.
Wugga is having a little bit tough luck with the starting rooms. He does see an elevator, but he also sees the monsters, and he's got fewer and fewer ways to deal with them. Luckily, the tornado aggroes that monster for long enough to not be a bother. Wugga is able to get to floor 38. While Septic is on 33, there is not much time for Septic to really catch up. I don't think that at this point Septic would be able to catch up in normal means. The only way for Septic to win this round is if Wugga goes down and Septic takes him over.
Yeah, I think so at this point, yeah. Wugga's just too far ahead. I mean, he's only 4 floors ahead, but this late in the tower, that's a really big deal.
But what can you do? There are not many things that you can actually do, so you have to, okay, play with your RNG. You see, Sand Knight, this is how you do 1 in 8. Love you, buddy. But yeah, Wugga is playing with his luck by getting those tornadoes. Tornadoes have sort of a little bit higher chance to be aggroed by monsters, so it's not a bad strategy. But right now, Wugga, I don't think that he's got anything that he can deal with this golem. Yeah, maybe 2 no rise. Luckily for him, it's only 1.
Oh, and an egg, not gonna opt to take it. Definitely, I think the play here.
But that's the thing. He could have no rise that dragon, because again, it is water.
I mean, does he have a charge in it though?
He has 2. We can see. He identified.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I mean, then he wouldn't be able to take care of these guys.
Yeah, but Noah Rise is, only good against water monsters. Egg potentially can be good against everything, but it's... Oh, no! That is the worst possible time to get that go-down trap. Wugga does know, or should know, where the elevator is, because the floor layout will be exactly the same. Oh, do take this malicious scroll. But that floor was kind of tough for Wugga. I don't know whether he's got now anything to deal with the monsters, because it's getting tougher and tougher. Yeah, we can see the repeat of this situation. Okay, now he takes a little bit different way. Yeah, there is... Oh, but there is no egg anymore. That's another thing about this randomizer. I don't think that we've got time right now to explain how egg points work, because eggs are one of the items that actually can differ when you enter the same floor twice. But all the other items pretty much should be the same. Should be. There are like still small caveats here and there.
Taking a question from chat here. The Neo Rise Ball is not a normal item in the game. It is a spell that you can unlock through certain monsters by changing element. The Griffin, for example, has Rise naturally. If you turn it Wind, it will get Neo Rise, and you can cast it directly and get the animation that comes from the Neo Rise spell ball. I think that's what you're asking there.
Just like that.
That is 40 for Wugga. GG's.
So Wugga wins game number 1, but I think we can let Septic finish.
Yeah, I think we can let him give it a shot anyway. He's only... Yeah, he sees the elevator there. He's really only 4 floors away.
Yeah. And with this monster, there shouldn't be like anything too troublesome. Because again, dragons are just like so freaking powerful.
Yeah, and he has a pretty decent inventory. He should pretty reliably be able to make this climb. Yeah. Meanwhile, Wugga's showing us all of our slideshows with Beldo and Guy. Oh, actually in fast forward mode, yeah. Very nice. Thank you, Wugga.
What kind of shenanigans does he want? I think he just wants to play the final movie, so that
Oh
he can
yeah,
take a
yeah.
break.
He
Yeah.
he does he does like to play the
hmm
credits there.
Okay, I think
What does a malicious spell actually do to Beldo?
I don't think that it does anything because Beldo is already level 99,
Huh.
and you cannot go above that. So yeah.
Does he keep his dragon buddy? He does.
There you go.
And he picked up the ultimate egg there. The monster that you're supposed to start with in the vanilla game is a little blue and yellow guy called Kuhn, and they're supposed to be all but extinct. The egg at the top of the tower was a Kuhn egg, but being at the top of the tower, it's collected massive amounts of magical energy and is changed into a Haikun, which has a unique look and unique spell. With its mixture magic, can instantly kill anything in the game, um, including Gosh.
Yeah, that spell is so boring. We've got a new game plus category in this game where you can technically use Haikyun, but the gameplay is reduced to pretty much just deleting everything because you can use power of the dragon or kid actually of having infinite MP. When you have an infinite MP and a spell that can destroy everything in your way in single hit, then there is nothing really to be scared of. Apart from traps, they can always get you.
And it looks like Septic actually picked up that egg on floor 38 that Wugga missed, so assuming he throws it at Belda or something on floor 39, we'll actually get to see what was in that egg.
That shouldn't be anything really that exciting that would be a game changer per se,
No,
but it's always nice to
it's
know.
definitely not a kid, because we already had a kid egg, so we know it's not one of those because it's not identified. So it
Ah,
could
now you
be,
remember, I see.
yeah, it could be a kid, a goal, or not a. I just said it couldn't be a kid. It could be a maximum, a glacier, a golem. I think
Tyrant, maybe?
maybe even a killer on these floors.
Lots of fire monsters, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
I think that might have been one of the go downs that Wugga actually hit.
And there is the
That's
elevator.
GG's.
GG. Beautiful. Double 40. And still below 50 minutes. Wugga was faster by roughly 4 minutes. With these two runners, one might say that it's a lot, but because, they're exploring randomly generated floors, so many times it's a go left, go right situation. But yeah, hype for the second game.
That is also, I think some of that comes down to the fact that Wugga actually lost his dragon and Septic didn't. While it definitely makes it safer for sure having your familiar follow you, as we mentioned before, generally speaking, you're going to end up going a little bit faster solo because you're not really going to be able to fight as much. So I think that definitely kind of worked out for Wugga, who already had a bit of a lead for like the later half of this seed, and it kind of just expanded, and it wasn't really all that much of a lead. It was only roughly 4-ish floors at maximum, but once you hit a certain point, though, those 4 floors are just insurmountable.
Yeah, like I think it was until floor 20 where Septic actually had a lead, sometimes even like 2, 3 floors. But then around floor 20, I think it was floor 19, that was especially tough for Septic. He couldn't find an elevator. That was like go left, go right situation. And since then, Wugga only was extending the lead.
Yeah, yeah, and that's to be expected with both of these runners. I think it was actually mentioned in chat earlier. Both of these runners are our top number 1 and 2 any percent runners. Um, so it's very likely we'll see the lead swap between them several times throughout these seeds, and it's never over till it's over. Seeds 1137 on
Yeah,
both
it's
sides.
good.
All right. All right, chat. What are we going to call for starting monster and egg this time? I'm assuming we're going to get some killer calls, maybe Annapolis. Everybody loves
Yeah.
Annapolis fusion.
Senai, change your pick. You always pick killer. Shawnee, that's very original. I wouldn't think
Okay.
of that. But I guess what you're thinking is that like Kid would be a starter and Dragon in an egg. We haven't seen that yet today.
Yeah, Skeef, yeah, and Master Mars Gullum, yeah. Septic would probably like to have a Gullum pet. That is his favorite monster. I don't necessarily know if he likes playing with one though so much.
Naplas and
Um,
Naplas for quadruple HP.
yeah,
I guess that's not how it
yeah,
works.
I don't think that's quite how it works. Um, we saw a good bit of clowns yesterday, so I don't think I really want to see those per se.
Yeah. Not for these runners.
And with these guys, oh, Septic going with the nerd. He actually DM'd me yesterday and said that he was going to do that, and it was a shout out to you, Chai, because
Oh,
you a
is it?
nerd. Yeah,
I'm a
because
nerd?
you a nerd.
How? Why? When? I didn't know. Thank you, Septic. I'll get back at you. Well, I guess like the whole idea is that we're all friends here. We know each other, and the next match in this tournament will be actually Revan and I will be facing off for a right to at some point face the loser of this match. So we were discussing with Septic that like, yeah, you can win now. I'll get you in the finals or something like this.
Yeah, it's a bit of a fated rematch between the two organizers of this tournament. We were unfortunately placed against each other in week 1 as well. So unfortunately, Chai's been sitting in losers bracket for most of the
Nah, nah,
tournament.
nah, 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 nah. It's okay.
What do
I
we
just
get?
wanted to have more matches. That was on purpose, or so I tell myself.
Right, right.
We dog.
Wee Dog. That's kind of like a Bune Light. Has
It's
the
worse Pion.
same,
It's
yeah, the
worse
same
Pion.
mixture magic. I think it definitely has less MP, but it does also have technically, and this is big air quotes around technically, unlimited MP with its throw meat ability. Um, Probably won't see that at all. It's well, it's you know technically unlimited. It's not exactly a
Oh,
fast
that's a
strategy.
beautiful starter equipment. I don't think that
Ooh,
Widok
yeah,
will be
yeah.
used at all. As good as it is, especially as a fire, it will be pretty much Qun. But the Dark Sword makes it so that Widok goes to AI2. Everything will be killed by Ko himself, especially when he also uses Diamond Shield, which
Oh,
gives them quite nice defense.
could it be the return of MVP?
Is Pulese playing? I don't think so.
He was in chat though. It's a
Yeah.
possibility. Yeah, and
So
like Chai was saying, the Dark Sword is actually one of the most powerful weapons in the game. I think it
I
has.
think the most powerful, right?
Um,
It has 10
Actually,
attack.
yeah, I think it is
Holy
actually.
has one less, if I recall right.
And Seraphim is 8 or 9, something like that.
Yeah.
It does have the caveat that it's generally going to always be cursed when you find it. You can get it from a barong where it won't be cursed, or in this tournament you can start with it on the ground and it won't be cursed. But it does also have significantly lower accuracy than any other weapon in the game, so we are probably going to see a lot of misses here. And at some point, they're probably not going to use it at all, especially for mixture magic on the higher floors. Because, well, one, there's just straight up better options with elemental wands, but missing on higher floors is kind of a death sentence. So that's perfectly fine for the lower to even some of the mid floors. Really, like you could realistically take a dark sword up to almost floor 20, depending on how much you kind of level up and what familiar you have, but you really don't want to be using it past there because that accuracy is just it's
Oh yeah.
awful.
And because Ko is pretty much too weak to fight anyways directly with anything, he would have to use mixture magic. That's why using the sword on higher floors probably will just simply not happen. There is no reason why they would go with that. Okay, that is an interesting thing. Ooh, Septic is going for a fusion with a Dreamin. Can you explain us, Revan, why is that happening?
Well, you can see right there in the chat box, the Dreamin actually has a talent called Sleep Proof, which, you know, is kind of self-explanatory. The traps that would put you to sleep, or monsters that would be able to put you to sleep, are now going to not work at all. But as a bit of a bonus, having a monster out that has a trait like that, one of the proof traits, there's actually quite a few of them, between like blind and poison. It also extends to Ko. So Ko will now also be immune to sleep traps and any kind of sleep spells or abilities that they may run into as well. So that Dreamin' really wasn't going to be used for anything else. So I kind of like that it's getting some use in the form of using its trait for a little bit of added safety. I like that.
But Dreamins are MVPs, aren't they? That's what Kule said.
I mean, there was a single Dreamin' that was an MVP.
Oh,
in general,
that was a very specific one.
Yeah,
It's not like all of them.
in general, they're kind of just Dreamins, you know.
Until they are not. If you have a water monster and you're in a corridor and you play around with Dreamins, they can become a little bit more than just a Dreamin.
And that is kind of the theme with the elemental triangle. I don't think we've actually talked too much about the elemental triangle.
I already touched upon it on in the previous match.
Okay, well, in general, fire monsters are usually pretty strong and have some kind of a magic spell, like that Flame has Sled, Griffins have Rise. Water monsters usually have some kind of, or they're just in general kind of difficult to deal with because they're kind of tanky and they can hit pretty hard. And wind monsters are kind of, I kind of like to call them tricksy monsters because they usually have some kind of a neat ability. Like the Dreamers can put you to sleep, stealths can go invisible, blocks can paralyze you, things like that. Zoos can also paralyze you and are immune to paralysis. So yeah, it's kind of a theme, I guess, a bit of a theme of some of the wild monsters. Wugga has a bit of a lead here.
Oh, just like a small one. But yeah,
opting to actually finish searching floor 5 with a full inventory. Not that his inventory is particularly great at this point.
I think that's reasonable in this game. In the previous game, they had an amazing familiar that was simply powering through everything that they wanted, even if a little bit underleveled. Weedog, even though it's not a bad familiar, I wouldn't call it that. It's not as powerful, so you do need the power of your inventory. So I think that's more than reasonable for Wugga to go with the exploration. There we see that amazing hit chance. It just missed the balloon. I think it will be still okay for Wugga, yeah. You can still...
Weedog, I don't know if it's like a passive thing, but Weedog seems to be the only monster that will actually not do a second attack. If you fuse it with a picket and give it 2 turns, it seems to be the only monster that doesn't do a double attack. If the enemy dies on the first one, is that a trait thing, or do we know why?
I don't know, to be honest. I have no idea why it works like that.
And we can see Wugga opting for the sleep proof. Yeah, I like this.
Yeah, very reasonable situation. Shawnee has a question, I guess, for other people in the chat who are not so aware, because Shawnee knows about this game pretty much everything, like many people in this community. So how I would define great inventory is actually a little bit weird because there is no such thing as a one item to do it all. Many items are very situational. So depending on what situation you're in, that's the item that you currently need. One item that can probably always save you is Holy Scroll, because it gives you tile immunity for a certain amount of time, and it's like immediate use. But like being able just not to die is many times not enough. You also need to be able to attack. So what our runners are usually looking for are some kind of like attacking spell balls. And they would also want to have some kind of defensive items in form of Olim fruits, which can take them out of the situations quite easily. This is like get out of jail card, because when you toss Olim at a monster, it just disappears. They definitely will want to have some Holy Bell for a safety in a room that makes it so that all of the monsters currently in the room have to leave without attacking you at all. They definitely do want to find some loops for having a little bit easier time at exploring floors. These kind of situations. But it's really hard to define what would be the perfect inventory, because it all depends on the situation.
One of everything.
But then what if you like meet a certain tough situation twice in a row? And that situation has only one item that helps you with. So
I mean, I'm kind of we have a speedrun category, I believe is called survival mode, where it puts one of every item on display on floor 1, and you get to choose your inventory before you go to floor 2, and you just make the best of it. And I kind of enjoy the category just because of the way that you can, build up that inventory. It's not a perfect inventory by any means, but it definitely gets you by, for sure.
The specifics of that category is that like you cannot double your items. So you've got one of a kind item, and that's what you can choose from. You, for example, cannot choose 2 fireballs, right? So that's the whole idea. The perfect inventory probably would have some items doubled, because some items are better than others, because of course attacking spellball is better than wake up herb or live fruit that pretty much doesn't have any use at all. We could see that like Septic was a little bit behind for a while, but now they're both on the same floor, and it's again just a situation who will find the elevator first.
Yeah, and we've seen quite a few misses on both sides with that dark sword. This is what we were talking about not really wanting to use it for overly long. It's not so much of a big deal on these early floors, especially having a diamond shield. That is the strongest natural defense shield in the game that you can find. It's also rust proof, so it is a pretty good shield to play with casually as well. So it's not that big of a deal yet, but we are starting to get into the territory where suddenly those misses are going to be a big deal. You miss one too many times, and suddenly now you're having to rely on dodges or using up your precious inventory to get out of that situation. So it's not something they're going to want to rely on for too much longer. Wugga, actually both runners are holding on to a golf wand right now.
Wind is the worst element, right?
That's what I'm told. I really don't see why. I get some pretty good results out of wind strats.
Yeah, I fully agree. In the previous seed where they had a dragon, it was so powerful that they really didn't have to worry about elements, because even being a water dragon, it could many times power through the elemental disadvantage. But in this seed where Widok on its own is not so powerful, they'll probably rely on AI3 being a mixture magic a little bit more often, especially when they can find elemental matching wand. I think around water floors, especially like 22 plus till 30, being wind is not bad at all. Because monsters like a snowman or Mandara are not so fun to deal with.
Yeah, and it's I really don't think either runner wants to go wind. But given the fact that they have the Golf Wand, if they come across a wind seed or happen to hatch an egg, well, no, an egg won't really help too much.
That would you would have to first change to water, only then.
Yeah. But so if they happen to find the means to go wind, we might see that in the roughly 20 to 30 floor range for a little while. But they're definitely going to want to swap to anything but wind for floor 30 plus.
Oh yeah, I think that they will not go wind until they have a reliable way to go back to either fire or preferably go to water. It all depends also on the inventory. They definitely would want to right now to find Scarlet Wand, which is an fire elemental wand that would pretty much double their damaging capabilities. Because the Dark Sword is becoming a little bit more and more of a burden rather than something amazing. They can still damage with it. It's not bad per se, but you don't really want to miss anymore. That's a time when you don't want to, when it can have a lethal consequences.
And Wugga finding a second Lebind Ball. That is one of the spell balls that you really don't want to find in an off element, because it only works on specific elemental monsters in its alternate forms. And not only does it only work on specific elements, but it also isn't as potent. Normally a bind ball would work on anything and it would keep it stunned for technically 4 turns, because it prevents you from getting hit the turn that you use it. But you get 3 free actions after the fact. The off element one will only work on I believe, what is this, a Lebind? So it should work on fire monsters, I believe. And it will only hold them for 1 turn. So it is still useful, especially on some of these early floors against trolls and things that are liftable, because you only really need that 1 turn. If a monster is paralyzed or put to sleep, it's 100% lift rate. So it still has its uses, but it's not something you really want to be holding on to per se for those really high floors where nothing is really liftable anymore.
I think Wugga may have made a small mistake there. On the previous floor, he did find a leather shield. He didn't have space in the inventory to take it with. So he did use one of the items to clear some inventory, but I don't see him picking it up. So I wonder what happened there, because again, like we discussed in the previous seed, the further they are in the tower, the more important it is to actually use leather shield rather than some defense shield. And Wugga didn't pick it up, while Septic did. We can see that Septic does have it in his inventory.
Yeah, and he actually hasn't opted to equip it, which is a little strange. Normally on these floors, usually you kind of want to equip a leather shield around floor 10 or so. Maybe he doesn't want to be cursed with the Dark Sword. That is definitely a viable concern for sure.
Septic put himself into a very bad situation where that
he did.
No, he forgot to change AI. That Widok is as good as that. That puts him at a very serious disadvantage. He was thinking that he can fight those Garudas. The problem is that, like, as powerful as his sword is, normally when we have sword mixture magic, we are using wands because they are so much powerful than swords, especially on higher levels. Then that this is the thing that we are used to, and we are thinking about completely different damage that we can kill those Garudas in 2, maybe sometimes 3 hits with that sword. And having 2 Garudas next to you, it was much tougher situation for Septic. And the problem with this seed is that they don't have as many attacking spell balls as they did in the previous seed. Yes, they do have 2 acid rains, at least Wugga has, Septic has only 1, but it's just a single use. So you've got 1 charge of attacking spell ball. In the previous seed, they I think had like 3 wind spell balls, right? And all of them had like much more than just a single charge. So that's not gonna be very easy for Septic. He's going now commando without having very good inventory.
No, and Wugga has since switched over to a different leather shield, and he finds an egg on floor 17. That could be a real game changer, because assuming Septic doesn't hit any go down traps or anything, he should also find this egg on floor 17, which he's
Quickly,
really
chat.
very close to.
What is that egg? Because I'm thinking that like it's 100% Garuda. It's Wugga we are talking about after all.
Yeah, and if it does happen to be a Garuda, that is completely game changing, and suddenly Septic losing his wee dog early isn't really as much of a big deal as it would have been otherwise.
It cannot be Dreamin' Pule because they had a Dreamin' as a starter egg, so it would have been identified. Look at that like big plum of red monsters on the right side, on Septic's side, and it's coming for him. Really nice monster train there.
Oh,
it's
a bunch of
Newell
mules.
parade.
And Wugga being rudely interrupted by these pickets, and it's a mule egg.
A Newell, like.
What do you mean only a Newell? What is this disrespect I'm hearing here?
No, I think that actually might be very useful. I think Wugga will switch to a Newell because he will want to go water anyway soon. And if you go water, why not go with a familiar that actually has infinite MP rather than keeping that? No, not even. I think he's gonna fuse it.
He might actually just opt to fuse it. Yeah. I don't really agree with this, and it's not just because
don't agree.
Yeah, and it's not just because the Newell turns into my favorite monster. The Newell has the eating habit that it can eat herbs, seeds, and fruit, kind of like the dragon, and get a ton of MP back from it. So it essentially has infinite MP. It has the same sword mixture magic as the wee dog already had, and it was already water element, which is what they're going to ultimately want to be at the top of the tower anyway. And the Newell also has the ability to cast its direct spell and heal Ko. So those, you can take a bit more of a beating with the Newell, and just feed it some junk herb like a wake up herb or a hassock or something on the ground, and it doesn't really matter too much. I mean, obviously it's going to cost you time, obviously, but the goal of the tournament is to stay alive. So whatever it takes. Septic hit a slow trap. That's not particularly great for him.
That's actually very, very bad.
Yeah, this Garuda's gonna get a hit on him, and it's got high ground now too. Leather shield. Ooh. Oh no, that's
okay. Leather shield. Okay, that would have been dead if that pickup didn't work.
Yeah.
It can still very much be.
And the Garuda comes back towards him. It's still aggro to him too. This is not good. He can maybe skip a turn.
Acid rain to kill the Manoiva. It will not kill Garuda, but Manoiva will die.
He might be able to kill the Garuda with a melee hit, but
you can run away.
I really wouldn't want to risk it with a dark sword at this point.
Okay, pick up. Oh, there is an elevator.
And there's a Minerva coming from that other exit. Has a monster coming from it as well. I think it was a Minerva.
You gotta pick up now. You gotta pick up because you know that there is a Minerva. One more. Hopefully it works. It doesn't.
Okay, the dodge.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. Yeah. Okay, and it worked. They both actually went the other way. And Septic moving on to floor 17. That did cause him to lose a bit of the traction that he was gaining, catching up on Wugga. They were about a floor apart there for a little while. Wugga is now on floor 19.
Yeah. Going back to the subject of Newell versus WeDog, I think like Revan explained it quite well that there is really no reason why you would go with a WeDog in terms of what the monster can do. The only idea that I can think of that WeDog would be better, but I still think that it doesn't justify the result, is that WeDog would have a little bit better stats because it could hit a little bit more and it would have a little bit better HP. But again, I don't think that this is something that justifies going for a WeDog. WeDog has better AI1. Yeah, like I said, it has a little bit higher attacking power, but okay, they don't have.
Oh, there goes the WeDogs. The wild WeDogs now have their spell unlocked, and they are more than happy to use it. That is something that is new from the randomizer. Normally, WeDogs do not have their spell unlocked. But because we had one as our starting monster, it had its spell unlocked, which means that all of the wild ones do as well.
Basically, it's the same situation as with Element. Whatever starting monster changes we see, those changes will apply also to the wild monsters in the tower. So yeah, in case of a WeDog, they were still fire, or the starter WeDog that we had was fire. That doesn't change anything. WeDogs are naturally fire. But yeah, spell unlock, that's something new for WeDogs right now.
Wugga picking up 3 sleep balls back to back to back. That is definitely going to come in handy on the higher floors.
If Septic finds it, that's gonna be huge for him. He desperately needs items to play with, because now he's got Lee bind balls, but like we discussed, that's only for the fire monsters and only for a single turn.
Yeah, and now Septic actually managed to identify the new egg before he hatched it. I am curious if he's going to opt to continue hatching it now that he knows that it's a Newell, or if he's just going to opt to continue going commando and try to pick up his speed a bit here.
Wugga a moment ago find the paralyzed wand and opted to stop using the dark sword because he finally found a wand that would be better. But a moment ago, he found something even better. He found the stream wand. That's the one that he wants to go with. Now his mixture magic is at full potency. Now there is nothing stopping Wugga in this tower. Even more of a reason to go with a Newell rather than staying with a WeDog.
Yeah, well, I mean, WeDog is now water, so I mean, he still gets the full benefit out of it. Septic finding a white sand on floor 19 and throwing it immediately into one of his acid rain balls. Now, hopefully, both of those acid rain balls still have a single charge in it, because it would be very, very bad if he goes to rely on that and uses an empty one by mistake. Because sorting your inventory can kind of mess up with the order that you thought you had things in, with items that are not identified, like those acid rainbow. And it looks like Septic is going to choose to hatch his Newell egg here.
And that probably is a good choice. I don't know, have you seen that starter room on floor 24? Wugga had a holy bell, and that's pretty much what saved him. But that room was full of tough monsters to deal with, to say the least.
Now, Shawnee, I mean, you're not wrong, but we also don't have a way of going wind at the moment, so...
True. And Shawnee, like we mentioned many times, it's not that you want to be wind till the end of the tower. When you're fighting against water monsters, that's when you want to be wind. And you've got tough monsters to fight with right now. Vipers, you'll have some snowmans, you will have Mandaras. Wind would be so much better against them. And it's not a argument, it's a fact. Of course, again, you have to toss elements, and that takes time, but yeah, sometimes it can save your life.
I'd really, really like to see Septic remove this Dark Sword as soon as possible.
I think
He's
this is
getting
also
into
the time when Wugga has found a paralyze wand, and that's
Yeah.
only when he tossed away that dark sword. So I think Septic simply cannot do it right now because he doesn't have anything to replace it. And the Gulf wand at this point, that would have been horrible because if it cursed, he doesn't know whether it is or not. If it is cursed, that's gonna be very, very tough because as amazing as any element can be, many times you don't want to be stuck with it.
Ooh, opting to just get rid of the Gulf Wand entirely here. Septic has no respect for the wind strats.
I guess he just needs inventory space, although I don't know why he's keeping so many fruits. He's got a new well, just toss away that limit fruit, or Leolam fruit, or Pita fruit, or anything.
Or
You don't
just
need that many of them.
or just get rid of that dead wee dog. That's not going to be useful anymore.
Yeah.
So, we did actually, because we saw a fusion earlier of the Dreamin into the Wee Dog, we did mention the sleep proof ability. One of the cool, another thing that the Mule actually has is it's poison proof. So now, now Septic will no longer be, well, no, actually both, because Wugga fused. Both runners are now immune to poison instead of sleep.
And we can see Septic finding that paralyze wand, opting to use it immediately. It's not as powerful as it can be if you had a stream wand, but we do know that there is a stream wand, and that's the one. So Septic will probably immediately go for it after hitting Septic special. That Wugga hit as well. Yeah, there you go. Paralyze wand. Bye bye.
Put it
You won't
down.
miss.
Yep. Wugga in a bit of a spot here.
Malicious Bell. Okay, so next floor is the one that we know Wugga had very tough, or he didn't have much problem with because he had a Holy Bell. Septic doesn't have it. So what will Septic do? He does have 2 less sleep balls. He doesn't have 3 of them.
He has the superior monster chai.
There you go. How is that superior monster going to help you against this?
It's really, really not. It might be able to heal you once or twice as you leave it to die.
Walk away and hope that that block on the right will not wake up? Acid Rain will
It's not going to kill
them.
Oh, it didn't even kill the Viper there.
Oh, he's such a low level. Okay, he knows that he's got 2 charges. No, he doesn't?
Yeah, the second one should kill all of them?
Yeah, okay.
That's going to be a lot of experience. Hopefully he doesn't soft lock or anything.
No, that wasn't that much experience compared to what you need to soft lock. But yeah, luckily for Septic, he did get out of this situation unscathed. The only problem is that he is 3 floors behind.
I mean, Wugga's definitely being slowed down at this point. He's using a lot of his sleep balls and running into kind of a lot of enemies. This seems to be a bit of a rough floor for him. The direction he chose seems to be the direction that all of the monsters want to be coming from. So maybe if Septic goes the other way, he can kind of just follow them all there and have a bit of an easier time there.
But I think for Wugga, that is it for the wind monsters. He will not have to worry, or at least not with Zeus anymore. Right now, he will have just some water monsters and fire monsters mostly, which he can sort of deal with thanks to the Widok. And that Flame Ball is amazing because wind monster, there will be one more, a little bit tough one, Golem. We've seen it in the previous seed. It is the wind. We didn't have any way to deal with it. Now we do. That Flame Ball is huge.
Yeah, it's actually pretty uncommon with the rule set of this tournament to actually see the fire attacking balls. So the golems have been kind of a nuisance throughout most of this tournament, which is kind of a neat thing to see because in a vanilla playthrough, all of your attacking balls are going to be fire element by default. So golems really don't get to see the light of day for more than a few steps once they come onto your screen. So it's been kind of neat being able to see some different tactics be used at the higher floors.
Wugga not trying to risk it, taking care of that killer in a single acid rainbow, just as that Naplas decided to like take a short nap, giving Wugga a little bit more space to check that seed, and that was a very useful seed. Mahel seed is something that we definitely want to see. What are you gonna do here, Wugga? You don't want to play around with killers. There you go. You do less sleep. I think less sleep was used so many times. I don't know how many charges Wugga has left. He didn't even opt to destroy that killer. I think I would have with 2 attacks, but again, Wugga is the champion, or like the world record holder, not I, so who am I to question what he's doing?
I think I probably would have opted to kill it as well, because it being sleeping in a room, I really wouldn't want to try and walk past it and have it wake up on me again. So being able to get that free hit on it when it is sleeping should guarantee that I can get the kill on that next hit.
And we can see that happening in that second killer. He put it to sleep and then killed it into hits. What do you do, Wugga? Okay, you want to get rid of both
Another
of them.
acid rain? Yeah, okay.
Okay, that gives him some level. Tyrants are not a problem, they don't really aggro on you per se. And the search for the elevator continues, but there is another killer. Luckily it's not aggroed, you can just like move away, let it go its own way. And there you go, there is an elevator. And we've got
floor 25 being kind of mean to Septic here. He just can't seem to get a break. That elevator is being quite elusive, and he's just encountering monster after monster. This is definitely being draining on his inventory for sure, because while the Mule is a fantastic monster, it is not so useful on these floors being water element. There's not really a whole lot of fighting he can do here without taking a ton of damage and then having to spend even more time recovering from all of that damage he's taken. But luckily he finds the elevator going up to 26.
But how he found that elevator was fun.
It was, yeah, that warp trap coming in a little clutch there.
And that's also a thing that I don't think that many runners actually do use. In this case, it was pretty much obvious. But whenever you're teleported, be it via the warp trap or Garuda's skill, the screen actually doesn't immediately transition to that new position. It very quickly goes to that position in a linear fashion. So you actually have a chance, if you have quick eyes, to spot what is on that path between your previous location and new location. So like in this case, Septic was able to spot an elevator thanks to that. And there you go, floor 27 that Wugga had quite lots of problems with, mainly because of lots of zoo. Let's see how it goes for Septic.
Well, he cannot take another one of those hits.
He's planning, I guess, to like share his damage just in case. No, put Manoiva. But at that time, I actually wouldn't do AA1. It does nothing. It does 1 damage. The only thing that it can do is wake up that Manoiva unnecessarily.
Yeah, with him taking a step back anyway, I really would have rather seen him cast D-heal and get an HP back so he could maybe survive another hit if he wanted to split the damage instead of putting it to sleep. Because right now he's sitting at under half of his HP. Pretty much anything on this floor would be able to kill him in 1 hit at this point. So that would have definitely gave him some added survivability, and he was using that turn to position anyway, so it ended up working out for him, but I think it was a tiny misplay in my eyes.
Like we discussed,
no! Talk about a misplay. Yeah, that was a bit unfortunate. Either not realizing where his Weedog was going to be, or simply just inputting the move command too fast, cost him his Weedog, and now he has no familiar to rely on, and suddenly his inventory is what's going to be carrying him through here.
Oh, but Septic is not in a fun situation either.
No, not at all.
That is tough. Let's see. We can see that Wugga is really
Oh, and
thinking
it's just
hard.
getting worse. There's another Mandara coming down this direction
Oh
now.
yeah.
I think
That's
this
gonna
might
be
be.
interesting.
Yeah. I don't know how he's gonna get out of this. Let's give him a minute
Wugga
to
has
think
found the
here.
solution of Mahel seed, so he's gonna be safe for the time being.
Oh no! And Septic's one of his sleep balls is empty. That
Levine
Levine isn't
will
gonna
not
work.
work. Okay, that
Okay.
less sleep will work. Hopefully, if there was no Mandara there, you could always try to hope for a lift. Okay, you've got one more ball.
Thankfully, I mean, he is in a hallway here, so these sleep balls should last a good while as long as he's not standing directly next to them. Making sure he's lined up correctly. Okay, he's gonna
Okay.
up to kill this one. He's gonna take a lot of damage here.
But yeah,
Ooh.
into
Oh no!
that
This is
focus.
one of the problems with the mule.
Oh,
He lives. Okay, that was very
command your
scary.
AI3 when you have Newell.
Yeah, the Newell, because it has the ability to heal, wants to keep his master alive if you're on super low HP, and will directly ignore the AI card that you have him set to, which currently means that instead of doing the that's not actually his new. That's a Maneva. Yeah. Instead of using the mix magic like he's supposed to, he decided he wanted to cast heal on you instead, which is usually a death sentence. Because
that's
his
an
heal.
Interesting one. We don't see that very often that some monster dies to 1 HP damage.
And a Newell doing it by no less. He should get a promotion for
that. He needs to wait a few more levels before that happens.
So, needless to say, that was a bit of a misplay, and also incredibly lucky that Septic is still alive at this point.
In the meantime, Wugga actually does find an elevator to floor 35. He also found a flame ball. That is another very good thing for Wugga. We saw an egg on a spin. That egg will not be very useful at this point, at least not in terms of trying to hatch it for, having a familiar. It can still be used as an egg bomb, as we have seen a few times, but there's so many monsters there that Wugga decides, nah, I don't want that egg, I just want an elevator. But here, Septic gets out of floor 27, he's on floor 28, he should have much easier time now to deal with many situations.
And hopefully he's a bit more on guard with commanding his Newell to do what he wants him to do, so that doesn't happen again. That was definitely a very scary situation.
Again, we are going to a territory where Wugga is so much ahead. It's actually like 7 floors lead. That unless he dies, and then another elevator and 2 holy bells, 2 flame balls, probably 1 charge of acid rain. It's gonna be very hard for Septic to catch up normal way. He definitely needs some luck for him, or unluck for Wugga, or bad luck to die simply earlier than floor 40. Septic definitely has all the inventory, or let's say all the capabilities to reach floor 40, but it might just not be fast enough. We can see that Wugga actually did find an elevator, but he probably have missed it. We can see it on his minimap, this blinking green tile, but he's still searching for elevator.
He did. I missed it too. Yeah, it must. I wonder if it's hidden behind like some elevation in that room.
That's why I always check the minimap, because you cannot trust the elevation. If you step into the room, take a second to take a look at your minimap. And yeah, he's just searching, and that is bad for him because he doesn't have the leisure to be able to search easily without having problems. He does have to deal with all those monsters.
Every extra turn he spends on these floors is potentially costing him more of his inventory.
Yeah.
And while he only has a few floors left to go, his inventory is preciously low. I mean, he definitely has some good inventory here, but they're certainly not unlimited. So he only has
There is
so
a
much.
second elevator on that floor. That's an
Getting
interesting one.
lucking out a bit here because
Oh
the
yeah,
other elevator is actually
a little bit
relatively,
further
yeah,
away.
it's
Yeah, still
relatively
close.
close, but you never know what you could run into there.
Yeah. So at this
Septic.
point in time, I don't think that Wugga really will worry, or he doesn't know that, but we know that he shouldn't worry about the time per se because his lead is quite safe. The only thing that he has to worry about is getting to 40.
Yeah, and it looks like Septic has opted to do away with his mule, probably for speed purposes at this point, because he's not really going to be fighting too much, and if he does, he's going to end up having to cast the D-heal, and he has a
That's
decent
sleep.
inventory as well, so not having to worry about having a monster following you and all of that.
There you go. We can see Wugga finding an elevator, and he will be able to deal with the dragon. And is it? Yes, that's
Yeah,
match. That's
yep,
match.
that is GG on round 2. Wugga takes the semi-final round and continues on to the finals match. Septic will move down into the losers bracket, and let's see, he will get put in the losers finals directly. And he'll actually get
2 weeks of
2 weeks off. He will face off against the winners of next week's matches. Oh well, his opponent will
Oh
be
yeah, there
determined.
is still plenty of matches before Septic learns his opponent. There are like 4 possible candidates, being Reven here and I, and also Rezoner and Plashy in one of the next week's matches. But yeah, that's it. And it seems that both of our runners are up for a friendly third, so that's not it of the Azure Dreams goodness today. They are discussing something very interesting. We may see something fun. Let's see how it's gonna go. But chat, as usual, let's start doing predictions, right?
Uh, I don't know, Chai. I assume, because I haven't checked the Discord. I assume that we're talking about a specific form of entry into this tower, and if
They
that's the
do.
case, if that is the case, I think I'd like to see him start with the Garuda, and that's probably the one and only time that I'll actually say that.
We will not know what actually is there, right? Because if they do what they, I think, will do, and they probably will do that, we have no idea whether it will be Garuda or not. So let me quickly check, just so that we can later troll them.
If that's the case, I'd like the egg to also be a Garuda, just to troll them.
Because we do love trolling.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we shall see soon enough. Sand Knight, as always, calling the killer. Anybody else have some calls for starting monsters? Even though it's looking like we probably won't see it anyway.
I'm gonna tell you the starting monsters. I'm not gonna tell you what is in the egg,
No,
because
yeah, let's keep that a
yeah.
surprise.
But I'm still gonna check it, so I know what's as a starting monster. But let's wait until our runners decide to actually go for it.
You don't
And
you
let
don't
me
trust our
go.
runners making a gentleman's deal?
I do, but just in case.
Okay. So
Wugga City is okay. Okay, now I know both of the monsters. We can
it
discuss
looks
that.
like Wugga is on
Yeah,
0876.
that's correct. See, we're still
And
waiting on
yeah, and
Septic.
Septic is also on the same seed. He skipped over it a little quickly though. But
Okay.
he's gonna reset, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, assuming that we don't see that starting monster. I'm gonna have to guess
No,
that
no,
it's a
no, no,
noise.
no.
What?
What do you mean? There is a way to like skip the starting monster? How?
Well, it's a feature, man.
Oh, is it? I didn't know.
Yeah, yeah. And because of that, I'm gonna have to assume that the starting monster is a noise because it's what I've wanted to see this whole time. And you know, it would just be kind of fitting, you know.
I feel you. I feel you. But you'll have to wait. And yes, Septic Seed is good as well.
Let's see if either runner has a funny name or a jab or, you know, some words of wisdom for us all here today.
Oh, I see, Revan, that you already beat me to updating challenge.
I did. You had all of like 30 seconds, man.
I
Come on.
had to do all my duties of talking to the runners. We have a little bit of a very unfriendly rivalry. Who will update the scores faster? Revan was beating me to it many, many times. But yeah, I beat him in the last match though, where he had all the chances to do it.
Yeah, I was quite upset too.
What can you do? But yeah, both of our runners are ready. So
What are
we
we
will have
gonna
them
get
started
for a
soon.
name? Anything interesting, fellas? Disco? Okay. I lost. Oh, septic. Oh,
Oh, Septic, don't worry. By losing, you gained the right to face me in the losers bracket finals.
face
One day.
you. You.
Face me. You know, I gotta start bashing you already, right?
Oh man, you've had a whole week to practice being on vacation.
It did pay off against Sen Knight.
It didn't pay off for you last time we played, though.
Nye, nye, nye,
Ah.
nye. Well, like I told you once already, I think I can get past floor 9. If you show the same amount of skills
Oh.
that you did against Septic last time,
That's a low blow, man.
it's okay.
Everybody makes an early mistake every once in a while.
It's okay. You can do
Oh
it again.
man,
I won't judge you.
it's gonna take me a long time to live that one down.
Happens. That's Azure Dreams Beauty for everyone. And there you go. They started and they are doing
Oh, and
something weird.
they're not going straight for the tower. What are we seeing here? They going swimming?
Oh yeah, maybe. Maybe it's a hot day or something. Oh, what?
Oh, oh.
What? Why are they behind the wall? Huh.
Hey, there's
Yeah.
Kyun.
Oh, that is cute. And he doesn't talk to us. So yeah, the whole idea of this is something called glitched entry. They're like basically going out of bounds so that they can enter the tower while missing the trigger for Kyun going out and talking to you. This way they are skipping the familiar. Uh, in this kind of rule set, it's not saving that much time because we don't have something called tutorial floor that normally is there, and all the items are lined up for us here, and there is an elevator here as well. But in normal any percent in vanilla game, that says actually around 2 minutes. So that's something that our runners are opting for when they are going for world records.
We're actually getting some decent starting items here. The fire
Oh yeah,
sword,
weak ball
diamond
is
shield.
amazing.
Yeah, well, the weak ball is definitely the weak link here. But
Yeah,
having that fire sword and a diamond shield is in a solo run like this definitely very valuable.
definitely, because sword and shields are reusable, right? Fireball that you normally get has max 5 charges. As amazing as it is, they definitely do want to have such stuff. In the long run, probably early on, it's more important to have a little bit higher defense. But I guess now is the time to tell you what was as a starting familiar.
Right, right. What are we missing out on here?
So, do you have any predictions?
Well, I have to assume it was a noise.
Of course, it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
I'll give
Don't.
you one more chance. I'll give you one more chance.
Tell me it was a Batnell.
You wish, buddy, you wish.
Well, it wasn't
You know
another
that
dragon.
Batnel is always accompanied by dragon, so that nobody would go with a Batnel. Why would
Right?
they?
Yeah. I have noticed that as time goes on.
It was one of the quirkiest monsters in the tower. There are some monsters that have certain abilities that make them very, very usable. It wasn't, unfortunately, the Garuda, but it was second the quirkiest monsters in the tower. So I presume with that you know what that was.
Well, it's either a Maneva or a Picket, because they're both kind of weird.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about
Oh,
the U-boat, of course.
that's not quirky. It's pretty straightforward.
He's very quirky. How many monsters can like give you infinite star glasses?
But it's unique.
But yeah, there would be another quirk that probably our runners wouldn't use. We actually had it in yesterday's game. U-boat as a starter, you get also its mixture magic, which is probably the rarest mixture magic because U-boat is the only one that has this mixture magic. It gives you very cool summoning abilities, but they're so slow and so expensive that nobody really uses them. And yeah, Simorox, cool trackers. Thank you. I would say that 50% of the thing, like this coolness, should go to our artist, Sustaina. He designed the layout for this tracker. But yeah, we've got a tool that basically allows you to track many things out of this game. This is just like one of the things that we can track. The tool itself is very, very configurable. You can make it look however you want. There is nothing specific that is there in the code. It's all in the layout itself. You can design layout with multiple images, with multiple elements, showing, for example, statistics, showing inventory, showing minimaps, but showing also some things that could be useful, for example, in other categories, like tracking your progress in something called bookless or carry percent. There are also like few things that are there for debugging purposes, but those are usually not available until they specifically are needed. But yeah, that tracker is free for anyone to use. If you like this game and want to play with it, join our Discord. The link to it was posted a moment ago, and you can just get it there.
Yeah, and there are pre-made layouts that we have that you can also download. This one specifically is designed for this tournament specifically. It is also for download if you like it and want to use it. But we've had some community artists make some based off of different monsters in the tower. We have a High Kid one, Batnell,
And the Sand Knight.
Yeah, and then there's a Sand Knight one.
Oh, that one is absolutely the best. Like, I don't think that there is anything better.
That one is kind of cursed.
I don't know. Like, should we even post a screenshot of it? I think it's so amazing that people have to try it on their own.
I think it's something that you're gonna have to witness firsthand.
Yeah.
There is also I believe it's a Golem. I think that's the last one that we have.
No, there is one. Did you already say Batnell, your boy?
Of course I said that.
Oh yeah, of course you did.
Of course.
Yeah, I gotta admit, Batnell is pretty cool layout. It looks better than Rocky, I would say. Batnell is one of those monsters that is sort of based or based on of a boxer. I think it's supposed to be a kangaroo. So yeah, the artist that made this layout, he's called the name Lupo.
It was Lupo that made that.
Yeah, Lupo made that one, and he made it look oh so cool with all the scratches and everything, and the like smirky smile. It's amazing. One of my favorite ones. Oh, we also have a metal one, right?
Oh yeah. There is a metal-based one as well. Oh, look at this starting room on Wugga's floor 9. Septic going up to the same thing. Thankfully not getting leveled down by that lowdown from the trolley clown. Septic should also, yep, he should also not be hit by it. And casually just walking onto the elevator, not a problem at
And
all.
same for Septic. He sees that elevator. He
Is
was
he gonna
thinking
go
of like
for it?
picking up.
Yeah, okay, and he goes
Oh, there is
for
another
it.
clown. Go kill it. Why would you take the elevator?
And you can see that both runners are only level 5 at this point, and in the previous seeds they were, I mean, they weren't much higher, but you know,
But they were higher.
they were a higher level than this, and sometimes having a rough time dealing with some of the things. So it just goes to show how different the run is without a familiar. You really don't fight nearly as much as you would if you had one. And it's mostly, well, I mean, for speed purposes, obviously, but you really just can't. You're really kind of forced to use your inventory, which is very limited. So you have to be very picky with what you choose to fight and run away from.
Speaking of speed,
Oh
please
no!
do notice
Oh no!
the timer. Nah, it's just a dreaming. There is nothing to be worried about.
It is. It is just a dreaming, but it's also only 5 HP. Okay, there we go, Wugga. Using a medicinal herb, everything is right in the world again. And okay.
Maybe,
I
maybe
thought it
it's
might have
just,
been the return of MVP, but no.
dreaming, trying to tell Wugga like, go to sleep. You're tired. It's so late for you already. Something like this. But yeah, what I wanted to say is, look at the time. Wugga is floor 12 at 9 minutes timer. It's less than a minute a floor. It's crazy how fast going commando in any percent can be. Actually, the world record for this game is almost half a minute a floor. It stands at this point at 24 minutes, a little bit like, I think, 1 second shy of 24 minutes.
I think it's 24 minutes exactly.
Oh, is it? Exactly.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so 24 minutes for 40 floors. That's just crazy how powerful and how fast these runners can be. Yes, Wugga's record is a little bit, I don't want to say
just say it,
unfair.
Just say it.
I don't want to say unfair because it still takes the skills, but he was using a Garuda, which is very special monsters. It has an amazing skill that gets you not even just out of safety, but it can just teleport you next to the elevator basically immediately if you are lucky enough. But yeah, Septic is right now, I think, at 29 minutes something without a Garuda. So Septic is not that much slower either. These two runners, I would say, are the most active runners in this game right now. They're definitely the most experienced with how much gameplay they're putting into this game. So yeah, you're watching Clash of the Titans, and now you're watching them at their natural territory, if I may say so.
Yeah, and it is also worth pointing out that these are the only two runners that have a sub 30-minute time in any percent, regardless of Garuda or not. So yeah, it's definitely something to be proud of on both ends there as well.
Septic is having a little bit tough time omitting those Krakens to get to the elevator, and yeah, there is another one. He again needs to turn around and start searching in another place, but there is yet another Kraken going for him here with a Griffin.
This is a rough floor.
While Wugga is currently, I don't know why the audio was on Septic. It should be on Wugga. Now it is. Yeah, Wugga is on floor 14. Their inventory, actually, I would say, is not that good. Yes, they have, or at least Wugga has 4 Olim fruits, but that's basically like, you can delete 4 monsters and that's it. And there are so many monsters in the tower that you don't want to use. You don't want to be trigger happy with these fruits. So you have to be very careful of what you're doing here. None of the runners use the egg yet, right? Yes, that is correct.
Oh yeah,
we still don't know. And this is a situation for Wugga. Normally, that Garuda is not a problem for any percent runners. Because they always start with 5 charges of Fireball, which they usually keep until they get to these kind of monsters like Garuda or Picket, where they can easily dispose of them with a single charge, get few levels, and just proceed. But right now, their starter ball, instead of being Fire, was a weak one. And that weak ball, yes, there is a very niche usage for it, like for many other balls that fire off a bullet. But that's pretty much it. Weak ball is useless.
And it's quite nice. Septic found a restore scroll. That's exactly what he needs to find in this particular seed.
So does Wugga.
The egg is a tyrant.
Yeah. Exactly.
Not a great one to have in an egg. It doesn't have a spell.
Exactly.
I mean, it makes a great egg bomb though.
As a starting familiar, it's actually pretty good. I don't know why people give so much hate to Tyrants, because it's pretty much CUNY. Just a little bit weaker CUNY, maybe in terms of MP, because it has 80 MP rather than 100. But other than that, it's very solid familiar.
As long as you don't run around with it on AI 5, where it'll randomly go berserk and start attacking you.
Do people go AI 5?
We've seen runners use AI 4 and 5 in this tournament. It's not a super common thing, but I guess it has its place.
Yeah, I guess only Septic trainees are using AI 4, right? That's a little bit of a joke at Septics. He has 2 students that you like to use AI 4, sort of, I guess, in certain situations. But he doesn't opt for it. That's just their decision.
Skeef. Maybe we don't like Tyrant because it's basically Kuhn. Have you talked to Sand Knight recently? He gives Kuhn, was it like a 9 or a 10 out of 10? I don't know what you're trying to say here. That should make Tyrant like at least an 8 or 9 out of 10, right?
There you go. Wugga finds a Neo sled. That's amazing. Now he has some ways to deal with fire monsters. At the same time, Picket decided to steal that weak ball. Wugga is not worried about it at all. He's very, very happy that
that's
that
probably
item was out of his inventory.
That's probably the best use he could have gotten out of that weak ball, so I don't think he's complaining about that at all.
Yeah, well, actually, Septic pretty much caught up. He's now also floor 19.
Yeah. And 4 Oleans.
you see, Reven, actually, CUNY is 10 out of 10.
That's just Sand Knight's opinion. Poulet says he's like an 8. Come on, man.
Well, he's definitely not a Dreamin', right? Oh, last sleep. That's not something that Wugga wanted to... Okay, there is a chance to... Nope.
Oh, that's a bit of a trap room on Septic's side there. He's going to want to get out of there. Last thing he needs to find is a paralysis trap and get whittled down by pickets. Star classes are very nice in solo runs like this.
And there you go, Wugga gets to floor 20. He's welcomed by Vipers in the Viper Town. I don't know why we have again audio on Septic's side. We definitely should be on Wugga's side. And yeah, there is another elevator. There will be floor 21. At 16 minutes. It's sick. I don't know why do these runners even bother with going with familiars.
Yeah, I don't know. This seems kind of free so far. I mean, Septic's only level 5, taking out Wee Dogs on floor 19, like... all you really need is, you know, that one great spell ball and you're kind of set, right?
For a while. But it doesn't last forever, unfortunately.
Suddenly, I mean, Septic literally doubled his level in 2 in combat encounters. That just goes to show how incredibly underleveled he was at this point. And Wugga, I mean, being 2 floors ahead and 3 levels lower, it really goes to show how fast these guys are going.
Yeah. Like being underleveled is not technically much of a concern per se in terms of attacking power, because they really don't care so much about the attack. They don't fight. But levels also give you HP and defense. So if you're too underleveled, at some point you'll be able to be taken out by a single attack. So definitely that's not something that you want to go with. You do need some levels. And technically levels also decide the attack power of your attack spell balls. So you don't want to be too much behind.
Floor was this 23 on Wugga and immediately blinded with no way to really deal with
doesn't
that.
Pay for it, luckily.
And
there's
an egg.
It cannot be Garuda anymore, so that's so weird. Wugga is playing and there is no Garuda in the seed.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't see any Roche fruits or Gerald pitas or trained ones. We didn't see anything from him.
True. And why is the audio jumping automatically to Septic's side? I presume we don't...
No, I don't know. It was playing background music earlier. I'm not sure what's going on with that. It seems to be swapping on its own.
Yeah, because I'm changing to Wugga's side quite often, and I'm getting this automatic switch back to Septic.
I don't know, maybe there's some kind of a problem with Wugga's audio. I'm not sure.
But I can hear it. All right.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there.
Wugga is
Either way, though, they're not terribly far apart, so it doesn't matter too much.
And now Septic again caught up to be on the same
floor.
Back
on the same floor again. Septic should find whatever's in this egg here as well. Also hitting the blind trap immediately with no way to deal with it.
Yeah, but we know that he will not pay for it. There was nothing that could actually be scary to him. He does find an egg, definitely happy about it.
Yeah, that's having a spare egg on these floors.
And there you go, Septic takes the lead.
Yep, just like that.
And again, audio automatically switched back to Septic. Did you do it?
I did not.
I have no idea what is happening here. Magic.
Well, having a spare egg on these floors is really nice, though, because these Viper monsters, if they're in a room with an egg, even if you are in that room, they will prioritize eating the egg instead of trying to kill you. So, knowing that little bit of knowledge, you can preemptively put down an egg and try to go for lifts or fighting something, or trying to kill it, or just somehow dealing with it instead of taking a hit or two. Maybe you might be able to get off scot-free. So having that egg is a nice thing. We probably won't see them use it unless they absolutely have to, and we're probably going to see Septic do that egg manipulation here. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so Wugga took back the lead, but Septic actually did find something very useful. He, of course, found that egg that can be used for many manipulations and also an attack. But he also did find a Neo sled, another Neo sled. We can see that Wugga also has 2 Neo sled balls, so inventory-wise, Wugga is still a little bit better, especially that he still has... he had 3 Olim fruits, and now he has only 2 of them, but still, he does have them. And again, I think audio changed to Septic, so we've got some technical issues. Somebody's playing around with our audio. I'll try to keep it on Wugga's side as much as we can, as long as he's in the lead. But sorry for that, chat, if you sometimes have to see Halloween haunted audio. You might be right, Skiff. You're onto something here.
I'm not sure I would say that Wugga has the better inventory here. Septic actually has 2 star glasses, an exit loop, and monster loops for floor 25 coming up here, along with the egg and 3 medicinal herbs. He might not be as stacked up on ways of, killing things per se, but information-wise, I think he's definitely in a better position than Wugga is currently.
Again, like we had this discussion a moment ago, best inventory is very situational. You don't know what is the best inventory until you have to deal with a situation. And did we again have some switch to Septic side? Yes, it seems so. I really don't know what is happening. Okay, I'm gonna blame it on someone, you know who, and let's just keep it on Septic side, because as much as I would want to keep it on Wugga's side, it's gonna switch back every 30 seconds or so, apparently. Ooh!
Oh, an Arachne. Very nice.
My favorite.
Ooh, Wugga's 35 damage. That does not feel good at all. He does have 2 medicinal herbs. It's not the end of the world. There's another egg on this floor. Now, whether he picks that up or not, I guess really depends on if he finds the elevator first.
Yeah,
I think he kind of beelined for that egg.
Unless you see the elevator, you sort of want to go for that resource, because you know that it is useful resource. What do you do about that? Yeah, tell me that Olympus are not good.
I don't know if I can do that.
Exactly. But yeah, it looks like Wugga had like 3 floors lead. Now it's shrank to 2. And will it be soon 3 again?
Yes, back to 3. Oh, maybe not. Short-lived. Well, Septic did see the elevator on the spin here.
Did he? We saw it.
He should have seen it. Now, it really depends on how long it's going to take him to get to that elevator, though. Those glasses are very tempting.
We know that there are truth glasses, so nothing that amazing. It's of course useful to have information, but star glasses is what they want. What do I see here? Septic is going for those glasses.
Yeah, I mean, with the potential of them being star glasses, I think, and with nothing really on his tail at the moment, he did manage to get rid of the sleeping zoo and the one that was following behind him. I don't blame him for going for those glasses. Now, obviously, we knew they weren't star glasses, but he had no idea.
If he died, I would blame Sand Knight for sure.
Of course. I mean, that is kind of the staple of our community here.
Speaking of, Sand Knight has a question. Care to answer that?
Let's see. Why aren't they dying commando in less than a floor a minute? That's crazy. Well, I mean, we've kind of touched on this several times. These are our top 2 any percent runners, and that's essentially what they're doing. Is a standard any percent run on the top levels, as the runners will generally not use a familiar at all. They'll use the starting Palumpa egg as a bomb at some point, and they'll just climb with whatever their inventory offers them at that particular time. And these are our 2 top runners for doing that. This is definitely well within their comfort zone, even a little easier at that, because they started off with that fire sword, the diamond sword, which is immensely better than what you would normally start with in the wooden shield and copper sword. And in Septic's case specifically, I'm not so much sure about Wugga. I know Septic usually doesn't even have a shield to start with. He throws it at the Palumpa in that starting room. So he has no defense, and he usually throws his sword at the first troll he finds. So yeah, it's actually even maybe a little bit easier in some situations, but they also have a lot more options because of this tournament rule set.
In a bit of a situation, he wanted to actually save a resource, and he was not able to. He got himself into a situation with 2 mana Vivas. He was hoping to de-aggro it, but he goes down. Wugga wins all of the 3 games today.
And I blame Sand Knight because they were both doing fine until I read out the question about dying. Oh man, that is unfortunate. I don't think that Wugga is really close enough to let him go for that 40 again. I mean, we can still play in the interview, I guess. I maybe get to 40.
Yeah,
But I think we
I
should.
already asked them for the interviews. It's
Yeah.
a little bit early.
I
Sorry,
think we
late
should
now.
definitely get the interview going anyway. I mean, he can certainly play and all of that while we're
So
doing that. But I
let
think
me.
it's a little long to hold off on the interview yet.
Okay, I can see that someone already sent them the links. We've
So,
got a little birdie working behind the curtains for all of our stuff here.
yeah. Chad, if you have questions for either of the runners who will be here any minute now, feel free to get them typed up in chat. We will ask them and get you some answers live.
And there you go. Hello,
Yeah.
Wugga. Hello, Septic. GG to
Hello.
both of you.
Hello, GG.
GG's.
So we have this discussion whether Wugga should continue or not. So Wugga, maybe you do want to continue while we are discussing here, because why not see a floor 40 clear commando as well? You know, you gotta make the trifecta here.
I'll try to make it work while we're doing the interview, sure.
Sure. So while Wugga is trying to show us how to beat the game commando, Septic, any quick thoughts about the games?
First seed was fun. Had a couple slow floors, and everything was fun there. Second seed, I lost my wee dog, and that became extremely rough.
What do you mean? You found something better? You found a new will.
I did find a newel, but that's more time taken. Just hatching it, and I did eventually get a stream one, but then I was in wind floors.
Yeah, and the Mule tried to brutally take your life at one point, and you got incredibly lucky that you didn't die from it, ignoring its AI card. What are thoughts and feelings about that?
Yeah, that's just typical unfamiliarity running with
The best monster.
No, obviously not the best if he was about to let me just die.
He tried to heal you, man. He was looking out for you.
Revan, you forget that Newell is one step away from being the best, right?
Well, yeah, I mean,
he's gonna be the best at 20, at level 20.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll actually I agree to that. Oh, hello.
He has to get to 20 to be the best, though. That's the problem.
On that note, Wugga, why did you decide to go with Widok rather than Newell? Because you've used both of them together, but you let Widok to win.
We had Dreaming in the egg. Newell was an egg on the ground.
Yeah, Newell was a later egg. And at that point,
Yeah,
I just felt like I'm just gonna fuse it for the elemental. I don't think there's anything else to it, really.
Okay, yeah, because we were wondering that no matter what you do, what kind of fusion you will do, that Newell was anyways level 11 because you hatched it, just hatched it a moment ago. The spell would be transferred from Widok, right? Element would be...
Oh!
Oh,
Hello
can we get
there.
the music? Can we get the music for that? Dang it. Beautiful trap. But yeah, we were thinking that like you will get infinite MP monster with healing capabilities. Of course, it's a little bit weaker or a lot weaker monster in terms of sheer power than a Widok. But I guess at this point it was just a choice. So
and also probably the heat of the moment.
Yeah, I guess. And in the end, it died regardless. So what do we care?
Yeah, exactly. Well, sorry, I didn't make it to 40. Spoilers.
Oh, Wugga.
You didn't deal with that monster then? Why not?
Yeah, why not use the acid rain on that? It's probably somebody's thinking, why not just use the acid rain?
Yeah, I still have a question about seed number 1 because we were watching it live. We knew what was happening on both of your screens, and we knew that Wugga had a little bit tougher final floors because he did lose his familiar. I think it was in seed number 1. Was it a dragon?
It was a dragon starter and a kid in the egg.
Yeah, and you lost the dragon, and you had a little bit of a tough time to get to final floor. And what was even and what was even bothering you more was those pesky go down traps. While Septic was getting there very, very, I wouldn't say very easily. He had a situation a little bit earlier on, but yeah, how do you feel about those go down traps?
Yeah, because previously you said that you had liked the implementation of go down traps. So, does that still apply now, or?
Yeah, it still applies. It's when you're in the driver's seat, every go down trap feels like it loses you the match, especially when it happens in the 30s. And I think I had it happen in the 30s twice.
Twice, yeah. I think it was like early 30s, and then it was like 37 or 38.
Yeah, 39 eventually, or 38, yeah. One of the other. Yeah, obviously didn't feel good. You're always under the impression that your opponent did not hit those traps, and they're still maybe have their familiar. I also was really short on supplies by that point. One specific moment that springs to mind is coming across with a golem and realizing, oh no, my flame ball's out. And I was just hoping against hope that my Nea sled would be enough to take Noah sled would be enough to take it out.
I remember that, and it did. It was one hit kill.
Yeah.
On that note, Wugga, one more question about game number 1. Did you remember that dragons in the tower were water?
Yes.
Because we were wondering why you were not using those Noah spells on dragons, and you were just trying to like find different ways to go around them. But yeah, if you remember
I think I had like a bunch of other spell balls that I just figured I'm going to use these on the dragons. I can get rid of them easily that way. Again, it could be just a heat of the moment thing. You're not thinking straight. You may forget for a couple of seconds that oh they're water, but they reminded me a couple of times by using their spell.
True. Maybe we should still touch upon seed number 2, because that one was a little bit tougher for both of you, especially that you didn't have basically a murdering familiar from the very beginning. Yeah, so Wugga, tell us, well, how did you feel about seed number 2?
Hold on, let me reel back. That was the wee dog, right?
That was a wee dog, yeah.
Wee dog and Dreamin', I believe.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah,
I don't know. Wee dog is kind of bad. It's not great, but it's familiar in the sense that it still has sword mixture magic. I just couldn't for the life of me find a good one to go with it until I finally hit Stream Wand with the Water Wee Dog, and after that I could just about two-shot late stage fire monsters.
I think it was both of you that you were running with Dark Sword until floor like 22, and that was scary prospect because of course the hit chance from a Dark Sword is heavily penalized here, that you may not be able to hit so often, right? And you are not getting the full potential of the sword mixture magic. And it was like funny that finally when you find a wand like Paralysis wand, yeah, you switch it to immediately. But 10 seconds later, both of you did find a stream wand, and now you're set. Yeah. That was amazing.
Yeah, I think it was golf wands all over the place. I think I found 3 golf wands, and I'd half a mind if I found a wind seed. I was ready to switch Wee Dog to wind, because around the 20s it would have been extremely good, pretty much all the way to the 30s, but it never happened. So
did you, Septic, right? I remember that you did keep the golf wand a little bit shorter than Wugga, but you still kept it, I think, until 20.
I did hold on to it just in case I couldn't find a better elemental wand. I think I eventually found a paralyzed one, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to worry about going wind strats. They're a little dangerous. I can make the paralyzed wand work. And then I found the stream wand very shortly after that. So equipping the paralyzed wand was already, one extra risk of curse, but it all worked out in the end.
I think I did the exact same thing.
Yeah, you had that floor exactly the same movement. Well, of course, minding the little bit tile here or there. But you first found that paralysis and immediately after stream on. So the solution from both of you was exactly the same. Just go for the paralysis because it's so much better than the dark sword. But stream on is even better, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
can we go on, try?
I still wanted to discuss seed number 3.
Yeah,
do you want to know what was in the as a starter?
Yes, please.
So that was a U-boat. We don't know.
Oh wow!
I think it was a water U-boat, if I recall correctly. So it was a standard U-boat. Of course, there is this mixture magic of summoning that we don't see very often, but I doubt that any of you would have ever used that. So that
maybe in a pinch.
Yeah. That would have been fun to watch. Because what you would have to play with is you've got a starter U-boat that actually you wouldn't really use for a mixture magic. And then you've got an egg of a tyrant that you cannot really use normally because it doesn't have a spell. So you would probably have gone commando anyways. That is an interesting fact.
How did you guys feel about the initial climb in the 3rd seed? Because you did start off with a half-decent set of gear in the fire sword and the diamond shield. Granted, you did start with a weak ball, so you didn't really have a ton of help there. But as far as weapon and shield goes, you were pretty set. Did you have an initial game plan? Because Wugga, you actually explored floor 2 a bit, and Septic immediately went up to floor 3. Was there I'm wondering if there was completely different mindsets in your run in that 3rd seed.
My thoughts were simply that fire sword, diamond shield, I can easily handle 4-3. It would be a little rough if I do run into a cyclone, but if I can get to high ground, I'm pretty sure I could possibly take it down, or I could always weak ball it. But in the end, I ended up finding a flame, got my level 2. And from there it was easy coasting. I did on floor 5, I think it was, I used a treasure loop and I went away from the elevator on that floor to go ahead and hunt down the extra items that I could, which ended up I think being just 4 extra coins. But aside from that, I was basically in true 80% mentality. I was just slightly better equipment, no flame ball. That's very unfortunate, but I was like, I'm just gonna try to outpace Wugga and hopefully get some extra supplies on the way.
For me, it was mostly just that, it's a weak ball. I don't want that. That's bad. That's not gonna help a lot. So I figured I'm gonna take the extra minute or 2 to explore early floors.
You held on to that weak ball for quite a while, Wugga, actually. I think you had the best usage of the weak ball ever. It was stolen by a picket.
Yes!
Oh, you're so fortunate. I lost a near rise to a picket.
Oh.
While I was blinded.
A little bit worse, but just a little bit. But yeah, that seed 3 was really amazing. Both of you, first of all, went so fast, which usually any percent is, but it does take skills. And many of the people in the chat, especially Send9, were impressed of how amazingly good you are at this game. Septic, you died on this floor 27. I know what you were trying to go for. You tried to de-aggro that Manoiva, and when that second Manoiva showed up, you were thinking oh, is it aggro or not? Unfortunately, it was, and that was it. You didn't have any good items to deal with that. Wugga at that time, he just took a hit from Manoiva. So in this case, it was you see the elevator, you take the elevator. But
yeah, I figured I was pretty low level, and it's a Maneva. If it was any other monster, I would have just taken the hit and gone, because running out the door, then I'm blocked off. Any other monster. But with the Maneva, there's a chance that I could just avoid the hit altogether. But I couldn't de-aggro it, and yeah, the other Maneva blocked me off, so I was like, now I don't have an option. I gotta I got to go around it and get to that elevator.
I did like that strategy that you used for the last hit. You actually did take off your shield, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, hoping for a little bit. I think it's already confirmed by programmer that when you have no shield, there is a higher chance for dodge than when you have a shield. So yeah, that shows like really good knowledge of this game.
I was thinking maybe I should have took it off for both hits, but I figured the first hit I could still get a dodge, and then I had to worry about all that extra menuing because I would be able to take the second hit. And so I kept it on, didn't get the dodge, and I was like, all right, take it off and just hope for the best.
I think I know the floor you're talking about. It was like I knew I had to take a hit from the maneuver or use a resource, and then I looked at my health bar from the wonderful state display, and figured, I can definitely take it. It could be bad for the next floor, obviously. If I'm surrounded by enemies, if I'm pincered, then it's a bad idea to do that. But you never know, and I guess that's the beauty of it. I just figured, let's do this quick. Let's do this fast. Take the elevator as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And it worked out. I mean, until you hit that unfortunate monster deck.
That was one of the worst monster decks I've actually seen, like that high up. Oh boy. I'm not sure if there was a way out of there. Might have been.
Fairly small room, and it was pretty much filled with monsters. So yeah, that was pretty tough. Maybe if you were not in the heat of the moment, you would have found the solution.
I'm not too sure about that, honestly.
To be honest, I gave both of the runners a few times situations where, especially for you, Wugga, in seed number 1, when you were going without the familiar, like, oh, this is it, and you were just proving me wrong again and again and again. So I think that you may have found it. Yeah.
The first round was so scary without a familiar. Man, I don't even have. We don't have time for me to express how stressful the first round was.
Now you can watch it again and without any stress because you already know the result and see what could have been better. But yeah, do you have any more things to add, guys?
Yep. Any final thoughts from either of you?
Yeah. Anybody want to buy some less sleep balls? Anyone?
I don't even want to talk about the less sleeps.
Hey, they saved you many times. They're not bad.
They're so good.
I only had to use like 5 of them, 5 or 6 in a short time frame. Dealing with what was, I think, 2 Zeus, a Maneva, and a Mandera. And I already blocked off the passage to retreat from that situation with a sleeping snowman. Yeah. So I just dumped so many charges, sleeping all the enemies and then trying to kill them with the mixture magic.
Yeah, and every time you do that, obviously you feel like, oh man, this is taking forever. My opponent didn't do this.
Yep, that is exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, we knew that floor, I think it was floor 27 actually. It was quite tough, especially for you, Wugga. Septic got out of it a little bit faster. Yeah, that was very, very tough floor for both of you. And I think Wugga even used much more sleep charges. He was a little bit ahead in this game. That was like very interesting in game number 1 that actually until floor, I think it was 19, Septic was keeping quite a comfortable lead, but starting from floor 20, floor 19 was quite tough for Septic. Wugga was just getting like further and further away. I think in the end it was like 5 floors maybe difference between two of you guys in game number 1. In game number 2, Wugga pretty much from the very beginning was going faster. So that was the case here. Anyways, anything else to add?
GG's, Wugga. That was a good match, man.
GG's. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was
Same.
a lot of fun commentating this match for you guys. I hope that you enjoy watching this one back. There was a lot of pretty hype moments on both sides, so you got that to look forward to. But that is going to be it for us today. We will have 2 matches scheduled for next week. Our tournament is dwindling down. And those matches are not scheduled yet, but we will be back on Speed Gaming at some point next week with those 2 matches. That is going to be it for us today. Thank you, Wugga and Sandknight, Wugga and Septic. Oh man, I just saw Sandknight's name chat there.
You made a mistake. When you say Sandknight, you should say Blame rather than
Yeah,
Sandknight.
yeah, that was an amateur mistake there. I'm
I know.
very sorry. But yeah, thank you, Speed Gaming, and thank you, chat, for making all of this possible and fun. And I guess have a good evening, or night, or morning, or wherever you're at in the world. We'll see you next time.
Take care,
Bye.
people.
See you later,
Bye.
everybody.
Take care, folks.